Hey, that's too organised. That's too
Yeah,
organised. We got
sorry,
to we got to check. I have to say, are we live yet? We have to
are
check
we
if we're
live?
live. Actually, I'm gonna use something different, but we are back this week. Yeah, if you are joining us, I know we're 20 seconds in. I'm just checking we got any viewers, but yeah, hopefully the old tech is working. If you have joined us,
We're live, and we're live. That's confirmation.
nice, all coming through strong. Is it great stuff? Yeah, if you joined us, do say hello. Do comment. Just let us know so we can see who is on. Let us know how you're all doing this week. Yeah, or Tina from Annapurna. Tina, how you doing? Hope you're having
Tina
an
from
awesome time.
Annapurna.
Loved your pictures. Her pictures have been amazing.
She's from Annapurna.
And
I don't know why. I thought she was from up north, but
very good. Rebecca, Gary, Andrew. Here we go. We got Shona. We got Darren. Hi guys. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, thank you, Darren. We are. We're on the journey to recovery. As you can see, we're still not in the Evertrek HQ yet. Dave is from his Yeti cave. I'm from my Yeti cave.
Yeah.
Dave, is this the first one from the Yeti cave?
What, for my Yeti cave?
Yeah, on the Tuesday tune-in.
It is. Yeah, it is.
So why don't you give us a tour?
Oh, well.
I want to see the Nepalese corner.
Oh, the Nepalese. Well, hang on. I'm going to move the Calcode Zero.
Yeah, take some of those dodgy things out of the
way. some of the paraphernalia, but so there's Nepalese corner. As you can see, a little Welsh van there.
Nice.
Here I've got this is pretty cool. This my dad bought from a restaurant in Nepal. This is his rock from Base Camp that my brother kindly.
Oh wow, amazing!
On it. It's backwards because we're flipped, but it says Everest Base Camp 2019. There, a little bit of history there. So there is my colour picture of my granddad and my great granddad on a Bruff Superior.
That is amazing. It's proper colour as well.
Colour, it was redone. And the most important thing here is the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox.
Brilliant.
Leah, that's been my world for 10 days.
Well, mate, it looks lovely anyway. But yeah, thanks for giving us a tour. Someone's asking who's on the comments. Leah, you know who's on the comments. Q of FE is on the comments today. Yeah, that is also for everyone else. That is Lauren. We've got Lauren on the phones, as Dave used to say.
Yeah, Lauren on the phones.
Dave, I know yesterday we were watching some highlights, weren't we, from probably the last, I think it was from the first year, but it was from the whole period of time. I think we had a snippet of I'll be live. We'll have to share that again because it was actually quite interesting seeing our facial hair and our hair and quite strange.
Yeah, the tragedy of the hair. I mean, yeah, that was quite good. It was quite fun. Well, we're not getting too bad now, are we? Because we've got a year of lives, but then we've already, sooner or later, no, we did 100, didn't we?
We did 100 when we were in Toubkal. We were in Marrakesh. Yeah. So we're on a couple more now. But yeah, today is something that's close to my heart. It's close to Dave's. I mean, it's a big part of how Evertrek became really. In terms of how we operate and the way we like to do things. And yeah, we were over the last few weeks. We were thinking about what we wanted to do today. We were actually going to do it last week, but obviously, and apologies that we weren't here. Obviously, just getting over COVID. But it was about talking about local guides and the power of a local guide. I know that sounds a bit weird, but it's almost why we use local guides instead of Western leaders. Instead of us going on trips, which we know there's companies out there that do. But we've always been really passionate about using local support and local knowledge, and that stemmed from let's talk about that a bit more. I know I'm not sure we've really delved deep into some of the finer reasons on why we do it.
Yeah.
And that's what we thought we'd talk about today, Dave, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as I know many of you guys will know, and I'm pretty sure as Morag and Koa are experiencing now, that the guides really do make a trip. They are. I remember the first time that I ever went to Everest Base Camp, way back in 2016. And the guide really made it for me, because you don't just need someone to show you from A to B. You need someone to kind of ingratiate you in the world the culture, the people, the experience, and it amplifies it, and that's why we don't. So we get asked, why don't you guys lead the trips? And well, because you don't need someone just to show you from A to B. You need someone to, you need to experience A to B, and that's something that I just think that no foreigner is able to do as well as the guides that actually live there. And it is their life. So that's what I think we'll talk about. And what does that entail? What does experiencing A to B?
That's a really good way of saying it, actually, Dave. I didn't think of it like that, but you're right. Like, experiencing it rather than just literally going, okay, we're going to go here next. We're going to go here next. We're going to go here. And that's a good point. Namaste to Alan. Namaste, mate. Nice to see you on. Hope all is well. But a big part, and we were talking about this just before we come on, and actually is something that it's hard to quantify, but essentially when you go on a trip, when you think about why we go to places, we were thinking if all you do is you go to, say, Nepal with someone, say, from the UK, and then all you're doing then is learning about those mountains from the person in the UK. I was thinking it's true, actually, because although that's great and it does work, but do you really get to learn about the local culture when actually all you're doing is talking to someone about the mountains from where you just come from? I don't think you grow as a person. I think traveling and adventure travel certainly is about, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. That can be physical, but it can also be cultural as well. Going away from the UK to somewhere you haven't been before and learning about the people there. And I think that you grow as a person. I think, I know we always talk about, okay, they're really knowledgeable. They've climbed Everest, they've done this, they've done that. But actually about experiencing, getting to know the local culture and becoming friends with some of them people, and which happens a lot on our trips. It's something that's not talked about, but I think is really important and something that we just, we never talk about, really, do we, Dave? Sorry, I'm sounding broken record now.
No, it is. We don't talk about it, but we should talk about it because it is an amazing experience. One of the things that I thought, I just spotted Paul Dewhurst has asked a very good question. I'm going to tag that later. But one of the things that I think really does change people's experiences is, so if I or you went on the trip with the Evertrekkers to Nepal, and someone's bag didn't turn up at the airport, and then I arranged to go to a shop and get some stuff. Okay, that's a good thing to do, and it's what we would do. But does it have the same impact as when you arrive in that country, your bag hasn't arrived, and the guy who's there to pick you up, he's a local, he lives in Kathmandu, and he picks you up, takes you to the shops, gets you some toiletries, get you some clothes, get you some stuff to last, and then follows that up with, when the guy says to him, thank you very much, and he says, listen, you're a guest in my country, here on your own without your family. Whilst you're here, I am your family. And the impact of that versus scenario one is priceless, and that's the type of kindness and experience you get from people who are passionate about their country, who want you to experience the best of what they have to offer, and are not just a tour guide.
Exactly. And it's and one thing we don't want to do here today is kind of like poo-poo on the Western leaders, because there's some great, amazing guides, amazing leaders.
I hear Kenton Cool doing all right.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kent, we all have big respect for Kenton Cool and what he's achieved. And I'm sure even he would say that he wouldn't be where he was if it wasn't for the things he learned off his local Sherpa, his local guides. And learning about when he first went to Nepal, I'm sure he'd learn more about the country by using someone local rather than if he was first taken there by someone from his country. But it goes to show that you can learn a lot, and you can become someone like Kenton Cool, who's obviously one of the best mountain guides in the world. Certainly from the UK. There's other ones like John Gupta, who's an amazing mountain guide from the UK as well. If you climb the mountains, he's great. We were talking to Stuart Haddon yesterday, weren't we? We recorded a new podcast episode with Stuart Haddon, who did the Summits of Fire trip back in February. He's going back in 3 weeks, and we wanted to chat to him about the Ring of Fire. And he had actually been guided by John Gupta. I think I was on Elbrus. before lockdown, and he was talking about obviously using the Western leader, and obviously then on our trips he's been using our guides in Ecuador, and it was great just to kind of chat openly with him and how it went. And obviously John Gupta, I've met him, he's a really nice guy for some charity events. And I think he summited Kanchenjunga last week, which was awesome. But yeah, and I'm sure again with a person like John, the first time he went to Nepal, he 100% would have been, met, guided by local support and learn off local support. That's kind of the way it's done, isn't it? The way that we think it should be done, personally.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think that, there's a reason, we could choose to run Western leaders with our tours, or we could not. And we have to look at the pros and cons. And I think one of the big reasons why we choose to use pretty much local work all the time is the benefit it gives those economies, and those families and things like that. That every single person, when you arrive from Nepal, when you arrive in Tanzania or Morocco, wherever you land, from the person that picks you up to the airport, to the hotel staff, to the people that serve you the food, to the porters that carry your bag, to the guide that leads the way, they're all local in that community, and you're not just supporting them, you're supporting their families, everything. And when you think of the impact that we can have, the positive impact we can have, I mean, those drivers, then you've got, you could just break it down. If we employ a local driver, that means that, there's some local garage somewhere that's looking after that car. That car's been purchased somewhere, so it can be the ripple effects that has is far wider than just the Evertrek circle. One of the things that I never forget when I was on Tanzania, and I was chatting to one of the guides, and as I just got down from Kili, and he said, "Oh, thank you so much, and please tell your customers that Kilimanjaro is very easy, because we want to take more people back up." And
I remember that.
Yeah, that passion for for wanting to help people and wanting people to come and experience their country, and please don't put them off. And ever since then, I've told people, Kili, easier than Penavan.
Wow. Yeah, that's what you tell people, Dave. And then when they get there, they're like, "Dave, you told me it was like Penavan." No.
Yeah, it's too late then.
It's not like Penavan.
It's too late
at all. But no, it is great. But no, it's interesting hearing about it. And I know we talk about Nepal a lot, obviously because that's where things started for us. But we, when we're also talking about experiences like in Tanzania, like with Yessi, God willing. It was a really nice guy, great name as well, God willing. And then like we had Mohammed and Ibrahim on Tubkal only 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you kind of get a feel. I remember. I mean, let's talk about Morocco. I know it's not that long ago when we were walking through. I know. Sorry, Dave. Yeah. Don't worry. I want no stabs in the back today.
Yeah.
I promise. But when we were walking through Imlil, and then you've got your guide, and he's talking to you about the trip, and almost just giving you, okay, this is what's going to happen. And he walks through the village, and everyone's saying hello. That he knows everyone, and then he stops in the shops, and he says, "I'll be 2 minutes," and he goes in there, and he's because it was Ramadan, and he did his call, he did his prayer, and then came back out, and even just moments like that, it kind of almost not on a cultural level. I'm trying to find the words, but for me, I don't know about you, Dave. I certainly felt like I was getting like a heck of an experience, just being a small part of their journey as well.
Yeah, no, Mohammed is my boy. He was one of the guides on our trip as well, and man's an absolute legend. He's crazy. He's
known to be the crazy guide, isn't he?
Yeah, he's known to be the crazy guide. He is the banter brigade. I love him. I mean, both of them, Ibrahim and Mohammed, were great.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Mohammed felt like me and him were cut from the same cloth. And there was a point when we obviously, I had to turn around on Tubkal because of, we won't go into why. But anyway, on my way down, it was quite funny. Mohammed was like getting me through this little sketchy bit, and he was like, "Hey, Dave," and he was really worried about me. And then once we were on the safety bit, we were taking the mick out of each other on the way down. I'm pretty confident he said, Dave, it's easier to climb without this. and I was like, yeah, that's true enough. That's that. I love that sort of banter, and he's a kind-hearted man. and he's and I don't know. I just think that level of experience and that
Yeah.
rapport that you can get with those people. I mean, that Mohammed's a friend for life now. And
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know you're looking to go back, pretty soon, Dave, aren't you? I mean, maybe to do the longer route, but certainly just and you mentioned you had unfinished business, as you say.
Well, I've thought about it since, and I was going to go back and then do the 8 day, but I'm not. I've got to set the board the same way. I know that's ego, and it shouldn't get in the way, but I know that under normal circumstances, I could do I can summit Tupcal. I just need to go there and. I think someone could think they can hear the ever dog. No,
Jerome.
That's my neighbour's dog. I'm going to shut the window a bit.
There we go. Dave, you're going to get warm now.
Yeah, I know.
That is good. That is good soundproofing. I got to be honest. That was literally like zero noise to zero. But mate,
triple glazing, isn't it? Triple glazing.
We got Carrie who's tuning in from Namche. Oh, mate, Carrie, awesome. I hope you had an awesome trip. Love seeing all the Evertrek stickers and groups. Yeah, great, mate. I hope you had a good time. Just let us know how did you find the trip? How difficult was it? How was your experience? How was your guide? How's things been with that? We're talking about guides today. Yeah. Remind us who was your guide again? Just tell us a bit more about your experience. Yeah, it's always good to hear, isn't it?
Shona said another North Face t-shirt, Dave. Listen, just because Andy's gone Patagonia, I need to go Patagonia. Yeah, this is a North Face one. No, it's got half dome. That's
a cool t-shirt, actually, Dave.
Yeah, but mate, if I do this, see if you can spot the problem with it. You ready?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Is that a hole?
That's a giant hole.
Wow.
This one hasn't got one, but that one's got a bit of a hole in it. See.
Well, I know what I'm getting you for your next for Christmas now.
Yeah. But do you know what? I am the type of guy I love scabby old t-shirts are my favorite, man. I'll mow the lawn in this one. I'll paint a house, and then I'll wear it to, on the Tuesday tune-in.
Dave, Shona says you need a pay rise.
Shona, right into the management. See what they say.
Karen's got a good idea. Get your needles out, Dave. That's good. Exactly. That's repairable. That's repairable.
I mean, it's one of those where I could get a free T-shirt anytime I ask, just by telling Andy I need some work T-shirts. But I can't.
He doesn't wear it. He prefers wearing North Face.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like I know they're in keeping with what we do for a living, but they're also relative. They're not like the highest quality T-shirts. But I'd rather buy Patagonia. I've got a couple Patagonia T-shirts, but that's it now. That's the death of the North Face on the Tuesday tune-in.
It is. That is it now. It's just Patagonia. I don't know why. I quite enjoy wearing this. But yeah, no, great to see some of the comments. I love this. Where is it? Have you found Mick Hamilton yet and dragged him out of the bar? Oh, Mick. Yeah, Mick's on his way down. He summited Island Peak the other day. Absolute legend.
I dropped him a message
with Alex Bailey as well.
Yeah, dropped him and Alex. Yeah, they absolutely smashed it. I'm going to drop him. I have dropped him a message, but I think he's in the Irish bar in Namche, so I don't expect I'll hear back.
Namche's got him now. Well, no. I'm sure he's enjoying himself, keeping hydrated, and again, probably enjoying himself with the guides. But yeah, going back, Dave. I know we've had some questions coming as well, which is great. We will come to them, guys. Do drop any questions in there about anything at all. If it's to do with guides, great. If it's to do with anything else, even if it's Maindel Bhutans, that's fine.
Yeah.
Drop them in the comments. That's what we're here for as well. But yeah, going back to the guides, and I know we've talked about some of the things we learn about ourselves, but then when we come to choosing local guides, I know we talked about supporting the local communities, supporting the families, which is big, rather than again keeping the money in the UK, for instance. It goes to the local economies, right? That by employing local guides, that is a big factor. But another one, and I know we've talked about this a lot, but the experience and the expertise, the knowledge, which I think comes under all one umbrella, if you like, the knowledge, the expertise, the experience of trekking and knowing how to help people at altitude. Because sometimes, and I've heard this, just feedback that we've had, because we're always trying to keep our ear to the ground, listen from what people are saying on the trip about quite a lot of other companies, and again, our aim here isn't to talk how bad other companies are. Other companies are great. We just want to talk about, as just talk about it openly. And one thing we do here on the ground is that sometimes they get a leader, but they haven't done the trip before. They're there leading the trip, but they haven't been there before, and that happens a lot. And I'm like, wow, I could never. That's strange for me, because if I'm leading a trip, I mean, and this is just something I've heard, I'd want them to experience how they manage people at altitude, how they almost like we've been with guides, Dave, and we know Evertrekkers who are looked after by guides. They'll spot if you're ill even before you do. They'll be looking at what you're eating, they'll be looking at how you're talking compared to how you were talking maybe in Lukla, how you're talking on your acclimatization day.
One of them on your finger.
Use an oximeter. Yeah, exactly. Dave,
COVID.
you've been testing your oxygen levels?
John, just out of curiosity, this sits in my
COVID.
Yeah, this sits in my trekking bag anyway. So anytime I go to altitude, I always bring one. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever used this one. I think I just threw it in my bag, but I put it in and I'll see what it's like. Well, I'll update everyone in a minute.
Nice.
But yeah, just because of COVID, I was just curious. But yeah, it's
things like that though, Dave. Right, like the things that they. Almost the unsaid things because of their experience that influences your trip can mean the difference between
98
getting there and not getting there, right?
Yeah, exactly, 98%. So yeah, it can mean it can mean all the difference. Yeah. And sometimes what these guides do, and I've seen it in different groups where maybe they're not getting the support that they need. Sometimes, and one of our good friends, James, aka Papa Tembo, when we were going up Kilimanjaro, now he struggled. I think partly because he'd got off a plane from Vegas and went to climb Kili with no training. But anyway, on summit night, he was, just really low on energy and struggling to keep forward. And he said it to me. He said sometimes it's just that pat on the back. You're all right, mate.
Yeah,
I'm here with you. You're safe. Let's keep going. And he said it's like just that empathy from someone that you've only just met that now means so much to you and has helped you and informed you and educated you and is now making sure you get to the summit and down safely. And I don't know, it's something that those guys have. They got that X factor, these guys, that they're just fantastic.
X Factor, really? Well, X Factor or Eurovision?
Oh yeah, Eurovision happened recently.
So I just mentioned that. Mona, does anyone think Dave looks like the guy off Eurovision? Yeah, I see that. Dave, you didn't watch Eurovision, did you?
No. I've never watched Eurovision. Not that I wouldn't. I've nothing against it. I've just never really watched it. I don't know
why. I've watched it ever since probably every year. I mean, okay, I missed it because I was busy or something, but yeah, I've had some Eurovision parties. I actually really enjoyed this one. Yeah. I don't know everyone else. It was nice to see the UK not get nil points, which was brilliant. But really enjoyed this year. Not just because UK done well, obviously, Ukraine, won, which was great as well, wasn't it? Just from what they're going through. Yeah. But yeah, it was quite entertaining. It was good. And Dave, you could easily present that show, mate. Easy.
Really?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you're very European.
Well,
as long as you wear those glasses.
Yeah, if I take them off,
that's it. The IQ goes down by at least 50. Andy? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But Brilliant. So what I was going to say, one thing I wanted to do, and I'll jump in and answer. I'm not sure if we're there yet, but I'll answer Paul Dewhurst's question because he said, "Why don't we use female guides and porters?" And it's a good question. And I'll be honest with you, it's not that we don't use them. We do on Kilimanjaro. On Kilimanjaro, there's far more. Women that are doing that type of job. In Nepal, I think part of it is a cultural thing. Family is a big thing in Nepal, and having a family is a big thing. So generally speaking, these guides have wives and children, and it's just the nature of things that they'll stay at home and look after the house and keep the home farm going, and do all the work and graft around the house while the guy will go off and work outside of the home. Generally speaking, that's how these sort of things work. I've met one or two female guides on the Everest Base Camp trek. There's not.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But we'd welcome them with open arms. If it's just a question of finding them that and want to do it and things like that. But I would love to see more out there. I think
it's certainly growing, isn't it? The number of ladies on there now. Because we've seen a couple of times. I know in in Tanzania, we had a couple of female porters, didn't we?
Yeah,
Who were carrying a lot of the gear.
yeah.
Um,
She was working to open like a restaurant type thing. The thing she wanted to open
that's
like
right.
yeah. So she was doing the porter in to earn money, and then she was going to open some kind of little restaurant and stuff like that in Moshi.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's amazing. I think all power to her. And when I was talking to Yessi, our head guide, and I mentioned to him, I said, "Oh, it's really good you've got some girls on your team actually." Working their way up. And he was so proud of that fact, that he wanted to support everyone in the community, anyone that wanted to work and that was capable and willing to do the job. He was happy to do it. And one thing we're very conscious of as well is that obviously the porters are like contractors, the guides are like full-time staff, and the guides choose their own team. But one thing we're very conscious of is that we want everyone to kind of have an upward trajectory, So if they come in as a porter, they can learn English skills and they'll continue with their education and then maybe go on to do guides and do all those qualifications. And but going back to it, I would love to have some. I mean, the thing is, I think with Nepal, when you think that like a housewife isn't like perhaps a Western housewife. Generally speaking, there's usually a farm that has to be worked and grafted, and animals that have to be looked after, and the house has to be maintained, and the children have to be raised. So arguably, it's a harder job.
Yeah. And it's again, we go back to the cultural side. I think one thing we've learned, is just to be transparent with you guys, Nepal is catching up in terms of how women are in society. It's growing. Like you've seen the other day. I forgot the lady's name now, but I think it was the Sherpa, a female Sherpa who climbed Everest for the 10th time. I can't believe I've forgotten her name. But she, is a hero in Nepal, especially amongst Lakpa. That's it. Yeah. I think you're right. And she, to climb it 10 times is amazing. But there shouldn't, obviously not to go too deep into it, but there shouldn't really be a difference. But in Nepal there is, because culturally they are catching up with the Western world in terms of, how females are in the world. Obviously in the UK, we know it's very, very similar. There's no difference. We like to think that way anyway. Obviously, and sometimes there can be, but in Nepal, it's visibly different. It's definitely like it was maybe 70 years ago. You could even go back that far. Would you agree, Dave?
Yeah, I think that it depends in, where you are. Like, I think obviously in lots of places in Kathmandu and in more modernized areas and things like that, that it is very. We've seen business owners and architects and lots of different people. I think it's more in the rural areas, in terms of like education and things like that. It's still sort of spreading out. But honestly, as far as we're concerned, I think we're happy to push and get more inclusivity in our guide team. I've just noticed something Sophie here said a comment about her guide.
Yeah, hey Sophie.
Bal Kumar, awesome Sophie. Yeah, I was following you on social media. I saw you get there. Bal's an amazing guide. We call him the Bruce Lee guide. He's one of the most strongest guides we have. Amazing. And she says that she started to feel a little bit ill before base camp. But he kept an eye, reassured her, and then got her to base camp and completed the trek. Awesome. That's the difference, you see. I think
it makes a heck of a difference, doesn't it?
If you go to bed, everyone has a little bit of anxiety when they're in the Himalaya or on Kili and they're not feeling great. They want to continue and they want to do it. But having a guide tell you you're okay means at least when you go to bed, you're reassured, and they know because, they know they've got the experience, that depth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Al's awesome as well. Like, he's great.
He's just a fun guy as well, isn't he? I know that, I've met Bal numerous times. But I think we were on going to Everest Base Camp and we had, I think it was 7 Evertrekkers going on the 3 Peaks, 3 Passes route. I think Bal was guiding that.
He was, yeah.
And then we kind of caught up with them in Lobuche. Do you remember? We were kind of coming down and they were having some lunch because they just come over from Chola Pass.
Yeah.
And then they were like, this Bal, he's amazing. Like, he's like their hero. It was just we'd only left them probably 4 or 5 days earlier, but they've gotten over those 4 or 5 days. They've been through a lot. He'd obviously been caring for them, managing over the high passes, and it was just nice to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We knew what sort of guy Bal was. He's amazing. That's why he's guides for us, because he's, we trust him explicitly, and he's great at managing individuals through difficult experiences. Because, like Dave said, there are times you're not feeling great. There are times that you're feeling, can I do this? Can I go on? Have I reached the end? Should I turn around? But when you've got good guides, they can help you through that and overcome it.
And he's as fit as they come. I heard that he ran up Chola at one point.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the guy, he's an absolute beast. More questions. So
Dave,
from Jerome. Can guides help you at the airport if something goes wrong, isn't right, missing, etc.? Generally speaking, yeah, but it may not be the guide who actually helps you. So as you arrive in country, or when you, generally speaking, a bag's not missing. That's pretty much the only thing that can go wrong. It'll be wouldn't necessarily be the mountain guide, but it'll definitely be some of the like the office staff or the driver or someone like that. They'll always be there to kind of communicate with the locals for you in their language to find out what's going on. And then certainly the guys in the office in Kathmandu are very good and very experienced in doing that, as you can imagine. It's not often that a bag will go on its own little mini adventure, but it does happen. And when you're sending 1,000 people a year, it's going to happen a couple of times a year. Those guys know what to do. They know the routine. And generally speaking, it's never been a problem. If it's like an internal flight, like a Lukla flight, it'll 100% be the guide that helps. They'll be there looking out for you. And basically, when you do the Lukla flight, you're generally just all there. And you're like, the guide's like, okay, put your bags by there. And then you put your bag by there. And your guide says, okay, pick up your bags. And you pick your bag up. Then your guide says, go over there. And you go, okay, go over there. So your guide will be directing you every step of the way.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? I think the only thing I'd say, if you're arriving internationally and you're having issues, it can be difficult for someone to help you before you come out. Just from a security point of view, they don't let the guides in. Sometimes there's certain parts of the airport, some of the team have got basically access passes, which means sometimes they can get in. It's not always possible. If you've got any issues coming in to the country and you're having issues and you haven't met your Evertrek team yet, do go to the support desk and stuff. But majority of the time, like Dave said, the internal flights, anything like that, those guys will be there to kind of manage yourself.
Speaking of amazing guides, Namaste, Nawang.
Hey, Nawang, how you doing?
Nawang Sherpa is one of our climbing guides. Many summits of all the Himalayan peaks. He
was on Island Peak earlier in the season. Nawang?
Legend he was. And Nawang's customers have been in contact with me and said that he was absolutely amazing. And they want to go back and climb Barunse.
That's right,
They were very specific. They said, we want to go and climb Barunse, but we want Nawang to be our guide. So Nawang expects some climb of Barunse very soon.
Yeah, Barunse is a biggie, isn't it? That was that Mera Peak crew?
Yes.
Yeah, because we had 3 summits on Mera Peak, didn't we? It was earlier, about 7 weeks ago?
Yeah.
God, it's been so mad, isn't it? Mad. But Nawang, great to see you on.
We've got, I think, no more groups going out this season now. I think there's about 25 people out there currently, and that's the last of the season. Then I'm going to go into hibernation for 3 months, and then I'll come back out, and you'll see me again in September.
And when you're talking about Nepal,
good point. Yeah, Kili season's just about to start.
Who was it? Amanda was asking. It's a really good question, actually. If you could try to compare Toubkal to any UK mountain, which would it be? Go in next month, trying to mentally prepare yourself. It's difficult. If you've done any, especially now, what we're looking at May. So by the time you go out in June, there might be some snow on top, which is crazy. It will be warm down the bottom, as in on like the first day. And Amanda, just remind us: are you on the 8th day or the 4th? Just I haven't got your book in there.
I mean.
Just because there's a few days you'll be relatively, I'd say easy, but it's just trekking on quite, nice paths. You could probably say it's similar to Ben Nevis in terms of going up. In terms of when you're up top and when you're at the refuge climbing up to Toubkal, if you've got some winter conditions there, there's crampons, ice axe, which maybe you might, because the conditions are changing. Oh, she's on 4-day. Awesome. Yeah. So when you go in up the first day, nice, easy. Imagine zigzags on Ben Nevis, very similar to that. When you go up the summit side, it's probably a bit steeper than Ben Nevis. Maybe you could think of Helvellyn would be a good one. Maybe thinking about it in terms of what it takes to get to the top. Sometimes I don't think there's a mountain that you can compare it to. Dave, would you agree?
I would say in terms of
physicality,
it's quite similar to sort of. I think Ben Nevis was a good comparison in terms of the overall feel and time. And also, if there's no snow, the conditions quite rocky and loose and shaly is quite similar. I would say Tubkal's steep. Pretty much from the moment you leave the refuge to the summit, it's pretty steep. But yeah, I would say sort of Ben Nevis, any big mountain that takes you quite a good few hours to get up and down, I'd say it would be good training. And also some steep hills as well. I mean, I'm struggling to think of a mountain as steep for as long in the UK. But yeah, either way, the 4-day it's a good trip. It's like you'll love it.
It's a beast. It's tough. It's tough.
It's a tough few days.
Yeah.
But the guides, as a few of these people have been on, so Kim Lawley, he was there.
Oh, hey Kim.
So he might be able to give you some inspiration as well. Kim was actually one of our first people that we sent out after COVID to do Tubkal, and he did it with the same guys we did. Awesome. Honestly, you'll love it, but I would say it's a big old long climb. So if you are able to do a big climb that can take sort of 6-7 hours for you to do, something like Ben Nevis, and something maybe a little bit shaly, a little bit scrambly in places, that'd be probably a good comparison.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's hard because we travel these places and you're thinking, can I, how can I almost imitate what it's going to be like? I think Tubkal's very hard because it's kind of brutal in terms of the amount of ascent you've got to do and descent within like 24 to 36 hours, especially on the 4-day. So just be prepared that after it, you're going to feel knackered. But it's great. Like when you actually, the muscles have stopped aching and you're sitting down, maybe with a coffee, and you're thinking about what you've done, you'll feel awesome. But, try and enjoy it. When you're in Marrakesh, it's great. Love that.
Yeah.
Do be careful. Watch your foot in. Sorry, Kim's mentioned there, slippy coming down. Yeah, it can be, your guides are with you. They'll make sure that you're safe. Like we talk about using local guides again. They know the routes that you kind of use, but the safest route. But do drink it all in. It's an amazing experience. It's such a great country. I've only been to Morocco a couple of times now, and I can't wait to go back. It's hard to explain why. I think culture, the people are really friendly, really, really friendly. They can't do enough for you. And plus, the Atlas Mountains is, it's mad because you can drive up to almost 2,000 meters, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then you're in the mountains. It's like, wow, we're here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, enjoy. Yeah. Good luck as well. And let us know how you get on. Can't wait to see how you get on.
Let's have a quick look. Karen Bardet. I got it right.
Karen.
Tell everyone what you told me.
On the weekend.
What did I tell? Oh, tell everyone what you told me about how much. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So, So generally speaking, with our team as well, like we're very fond of all of our guides and all of the people that work for us. So it goes without saying that we take good care of them because we want to retain those good guides, throughout the whole industry. They'll always be in demand by, not just, us, but other companies. We want to keep them. We want to keep them loyal. They're loyal to us. So yeah, we do our best to look out for them and make sure that their welfares are protected. And their livelihoods are looked after and that they have guaranteed work. And also, let's not forget what every single one of you guys did, with strides for guides and the jackets for guides. A little goes a long way over there. COVID. So, I saw the impact of what you guys did, when it came to, it wasn't just rice and food and fuel being provided. People's rent was covered in Kathmandu. There was lots of stuff being done to help
gas
them.
and fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. You hit the nail on the head there. Like, yeah, you guys have been involved in that process as well. Like, COVID was nuts a couple of years, and it was challenging for everyone, us included. Everyone on here has gone through a mad time. But yeah, it was certainly tough for the local teams that we do use in the countries because they don't have any work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is true. Like, yeah, making sure those people are still there when we actually do start up again was key for us. And we were so happy they are. And it's been better than ever. I mean, it's been mad because you go from 0 to 100. It's like, whoa, we got our. There's this smaller details that you're kind of not used to doing. You're a bit rusty, and we've had some things that were like, right, okay, next time now we know we got to do that again. And it's most important for us guys is for you guys to have an amazing time, come back with lifetime memories. That's what we do.
And is that your ever dog barking now, or?
No, it's not. Penny doesn't bark really, unless there's a postman at the door, and then she lets us know.
Oh yeah.
But that is probably that's quite far away, and you can hear that.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry, guys, I can't turn that one down.
Good mic. Good mic.
But yeah, that's probably a few hundred meters away. That dog.
No, nice. He's loud. He wants to be heard.
I know he wants to be on the live. We had the bird in Marrakesh.
Oh, he was great.
That wanted to be heard. That little bird sort of tweeting away.
Yeah.
That was very cute, wasn't it? But just some more questions, Dave. What we got? We got about another 15, 20 minutes. Just before we do go into question time, obviously this weekend, finally me and Dave come out of isolation. But yeah, we're at Keswick Mountain Festival. I know there's quite a few Evertrackers that are going to come and see us anyway. But yeah, just to say we are there. We're there from obviously Friday to Sunday. We're there actually on Thursday just to set up. But we'd love to meet you, to see you if you want to come along to the stall. We're running another little competition at the event. So yeah, do come and join us. Always good to meet people in person. Obviously we love chatting with the community on here, but it's always nice to see you guys. So yeah, I know some people like Karen, Mona coming along. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys. Chris, are you going to Kendal Mountain Festival? Ooh, we've been thinking about Kendal. We're not there. We haven't booked in this year yet. To be honest, Kendal haven't approached us, but we're at a few different places, and we've picked a couple of places that we kind of that we've done. Like we usually do the Adventure Travel Show in London. It got kind of kicked this year, so we'll be there. But yeah, we haven't done Kendal yet. I think certainly because I've been there as a person, I do really enjoy it. I know it's a bit spread out, but yeah, it's one on the agenda. We'll have to have a think about that one. But yeah, good. Thanks for bringing it up, Chris. But yeah, it is good, Kendal, isn't it? You do get some good speakers there, definitely. Bit of a different vibe to Keswick. Keswick's a bit more about the event side of things. They do like 3 peaks challenges, trail runs, swimming, all that stuff. I know Kendal's a little bit different, more on the kind of the films and the photos and speakers and that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're both great. But Keswick, I don't know why I like Keswick. I think the outdoors, I love being in the outdoors, and Keswick's is cool. But yeah, Chris, I'll let you know on that one, mate. Let you know.
Awesome.
Dave, what's the next question?
So Jill Morrissey has said, how do you select your EVC guide?
Hey, Jill.
Good
question.
So yeah, it's a good question. Generally speaking, our team in Kathmandu are the ones that actually do the selection and the hiring. They have a vast amount of experience in there, so already know a lot of really good guides. There is a set of criteria, so they have to be qualified. They have to have good English skills, and generally speaking, they have to have a good amount of experience in terms of a lot of them start off as porters, and then they work up to assistant guides, and then they work up to guides from there. So yeah, they have to be selected. They, like any job, really, they have to be fit for it in terms of their qualifications. And then also there's that, remember I mentioned earlier, there was like that X factor. We want guides with a bit of personality, someone, that can have a laugh with the guys and, do all the stuff that they're supposed to do and yet keep people entertained and educated. And all the guides have different personalities. Like we've been lucky enough that I've met, you got Bibek, Padam, Balkuma, Nawang. There's loads of guys out there that we've met. Nima, and they all bring a different something to there. So generally speaking, and one of the big things that I'm talking to Anuj is a Nuge likes a team player.
Yeah.
So there are some, he doesn't want a guide coming in thinking that they're the star of the show and they're the rock star. He wants a guide who recognizes the effort of everyone above and below him. So, and especially the porters, because the guides, all right, they might be the star of the show, but if the porters put the bag down and say we're not doing it, trip's over. you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one that respects everybody throughout there, and if they kind of have that and they have the skills and the experience, congratulations, go and work for Evertrack. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. I think, the experience, certainly we lean on people like a news when we're selecting the guides because he knows them personally. We've got to know them personally, but he's known them for like 10, 15 years. He knows their journey. And I think one thing they're good on is bringing people up, not just selecting the ones that, from affluent families or whatever. They're bringing them from porters and turning them into guides. And, lots of the guides we have now, they've worked on, Everest expeditions, like Choyoyu expeditions, Manaslu, Makalu, Kanchenjunga. Some of them work in other places outside of Nepal. Like some have worked on K2, some have worked on Nanga Parbat, some have worked on like Peak Lenin, for instance.
I think Nawang does.
That's Nawang, yeah. So there's obviously guides that vastly experienced, and we lean on that experience. But Dave's right. Like when it comes to, it's not just about the guiding. It's all the ancillary stuff around it. So looking after the accommodation, managing all the things that happen with the food, or managing things to do with the water, managing the flights, when it comes to getting the tickets and then organising the bags, organising teams of porters. Yeah, there's so much that goes with it. That's not just about saying that's Mount, that's Choyoyu over there, that's Cholatse, that's Everest. It's more than just being like that. It's actually managing the whole shebang, if you like.
Yeah.
Which they've obviously become good at it over a long period of time. And the guides certainly are, they're not normally new. Put it that way. They've been doing it a long time. That being said, we do have some that come up and who says we think this guy is going to be great. This is his experience, and then we'll obviously let them guide. We do that on rare occasions, but we don't want to stop people from coming into the guiding community. We want to always get those people in and experience. We do make sure they're Evertrek level guides, definitely. But good question. What's the next one, Dave?
Message from Ruben. So he's booked in for EBC, I believe, I remember rightly. Hiking boots, hiking shoes. Which one is better, lasts longer, and what to look for in a good pair? So, if we're talking about EBC, which you're booked onto, I would always recommend a pair of hiking boots. There's no rule. Some people are adamant about using boots. Some are adamant about wearing shoes. Personally, I think that a good pair of boots is, what you're going to need. The reason being is they're warmer. They provide more security around the ankle support and things like that. So if you're like Andy and you like to roll an ankle, then they'll keep you right. Now, what to look for depends a lot on your personal preference. So everyone is they're waiting for it, and they're waiting.
I know.
So,
it's all good, Dave. I know there's a particular pair that you like to use.
Yeah. So
Sportivas.
That's because I bought the last Sportivas. So it really does depend on what you want to use them for. So if you just want a hiking boot, there's no need for you to get like a B1, B2, B3 rated boot. You can just get a normal flexible hiking boot, and it's about the fit and the comfort. I like a pair. They're these brown leather boots, and they're from a German make called Meindl Bhutan. They're the best.
Meindl Bhutan,
yeah.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them. No, they're really good. And I've recommended them to quite a lot of people, and I would say 99% of the people I recommend them to really love them as well.
Yeah.
Because they are a brown leather boot, but they're good out the box. They're comfortable. So that's what I use for hiking. I recently bought a pair of La Sportivas, which I'd never bought before because I did buy one pair and they're a bit narrow, so I haven't bothered. But then this pair that I've got recently, I love them. They're a B2 boot, so they fit a crampon, but they're comfy enough to hike in all day. So I use those as well. But
Yeah, they're good boots, aren't they? And we know they don't fit everyone. You know, they're not for everyone. Just, I know it doesn't matter what we talk about on a live. We're always going to be able to mention Maindle Boutans, aren't we? It's going to be have to go alongside Are We Live when it comes to things we must say on a live. But yeah, they're certainly really good boots, and there's so many. You know, technology now is amazing across loads of different brands. You know, so have a little look out there. You know, Scarpa, La Sportiva. You've got Merrill. You know, we're really good. I mean, even North Face. You know, North Face make really good boots.
Yeah,
they're kind of fading them out a little bit, but the North Face Hedgehog GTX was always one I wore in the first 2 or 3 times I went to Everest before I switched to the Maindles and a couple of other brands. But you know, there's so many out there. It's hard because, especially last 2 years, you haven't been able to go out there and try the boots on. But you know, sometimes you want to have a little bit of a feel, and you get them delivered, and you wear them around the house. But sometimes you never know until you're out on the path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey Simon, how's it going? Used Maindle Boutan last month. EBC, well worth the money. Not a single blister in 2 weeks. Yeah, mate, they're certainly. I've never had a blister with the Maindle Boutans. They are brilliant. And Sophie, the same. Great stuff. Wish we'd had a group photo of all those Maindles now.
I know. We should do that one day. We should all like just meet up at like a training weekend, just line up all our Maindles. But yeah, I do think they're great. I do think they're great. I struggle because I'm a size 10.5, and I bought a 10.5, and they fit absolutely perfectly.
Yeah.
Unless my feet swell a little bit, which can happen at altitude, and then they're a little bit tight. But I don't know whether an 11 would solve that problem. So I'm going to stick with what I got.
Maybe.
The problem is they're a bit expensive just to buy another pair to see if it works. So what I might do is I might like wait till these Maindles wear out. But they last years. Well, they normally do, and you know.
Well, mine, yeah, I know, yeah. Well, I had some mileage on mine. Mine only lasted about 3 years, but yeah, they went through a lot. It's not their fault. Sophie was asking actually. Hey Sophie, how you doing? Yeah, got my eyes on K2 base camp. Can't stop thinking about it. Is it much harder than EBC? So yeah, it's very different to EBC in terms of where you are. So when you start the trek in Skardu, so you fly to Islamabad, go along to Skardu, and from there on, it's very remote. So you walk in pretty much up through the Baltoro Glacier, surrounded by, you got the Trango Tower, you've got Nagta Parbat K2, Concordia. It's very, very rugged, very remote, all camping. Obviously, whereas of Everest Base Camp, you're in tea houses, it's got a lot more infrastructure. So it's something to think about, but it is, if that's what you're looking for, and it's in terms of altitude, K2 Base Camp's just over 5,100 meters. So you've already been higher than that. So in terms of the altitude, it is more gradual, I'd say, than the Everest Base Camp trip. You're trekking up to 5,100 meters, pretty much over like 10, 11 days. So, it's a lot more steady. So you won't feel the altitude as much as you would say on the Everest Base Camp trip. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing. If, trekking in the Karakoram is something on your bucket list and seeing K2 is on your bucket list, go for it, mate. It's a great trip.
I think it's one of the most striking places in the world in terms of just, the towers, these freestanding mountains that kind of line the way. Awesome trip. I don't think anyone, put it this way, Sophie, if you went to EBC and enjoyed it, you'll love K2. Don't even think about it. Just crack on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sophie's got Killy to do first anyway, so she'll love that. She'll love it. Bit of a different trip to base camp.
Yeah.
You're not going through villages or anything. You're literally attacking the mountain. Sounds like a bad word, but you are there to go from camp to camp to camp to get on, to get on the summit.
Yeah,
all about the summit. But the 7 days it takes you to get there is amazing.
Can you hear these birds, by the way?
No.
They're going.
That sounded like someone whistling.
Yeah, I bought some mealworms the other day because being in COVID, the garden that's like TV now. So I literally had the mealworms and put a pile of them outside. Carnage, absolute carnage.
Wow.
Yeah.
But look, just going through. Is that all the questions, Dave?
Sorry, that was just a little aside about the birds in my garden there, mate. Yeah, I think we're pretty much. Actually, no. Rebecca has asked how much should you give to each of the porters.
Oh, okay, good question. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so yeah, we recommend 10% of the
yeah,
cost of the trip is a good round amount to offer as a tip.
yeah.
Now, with regards to the breakdown, it kind of depends on how many people are in your group and how
Yeah,
many there are that you're going to be giving to. Generally speaking, what you want to do is follow this sort of routine. So, put everything together in a pile, and then the guide gets the most, assistant guide slightly less, porters
yeah,
then slightly less. There's no fixed amount for each tier, so I
yeah,
couldn't say 40% for the guide, and then work your way down.
yeah,
So what me and Andy generally do is we sit down, we say, okay, right, if we give this much to the guide, that much to the assistant, the porters get this much, and then we think, okay, well, let's give the porters a little bit more. So we'll take a little bit off the guide, a little bit off the thing, spread that
yeah.
out, and then you'll get an amount that feels right. So generally, that's how we do it. But if everyone's giving 10%, and you don't want to do that, worst case scenario, you can just give it to the guide. So you can just say, listen, we don't really want to break this down. This is for you and all your team. Can you share it out? And they'll help you with that.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Because well, they will do it sometimes. It's
But
I think again because of the culture in the pool, and this is where like every trip's different. Like in Tanzania, sometimes it's similar. You can divvy it out. Okay, that's amount for the guide, that amount for the assistant guides, that amount for the porters. Sometimes you can give it to the guide, they'll do it. I'd say it's culturally different in Nepal in terms of, it's always generally that they'll feel awkward if you give it to them, and they're like, oh no, how much do I give to people? Whereas if you can find a leader in the team, or just one of you in the team, kind of take ownership and say, okay, I'll organize this and count it out and stuff. And it's a nice thing to do. Some people, they can get some envelopes from one of the stores there and do it. Sometimes it's just nice at the end just to sort of, say, okay, you got your guide. Say if it was Bal, and say, okay, Bal, and then they give him the kind of money, and it's like everyone claps and cheers if everyone's drinking beer or having a yak steak after not eating meat for 10 days. There's we wish when we said, right, okay, do it this way, and it kind of would work like that every time. And I think hopefully, like even if Rebecca, you take ownership for it from the team if you want to, and or ask, there's usually someone on the team is like, okay, I'll do that, and then you can kind of help and say, okay, what about if what do you think about this? What feels right? I think, Dave, what you said about what feels right is a really good way to do it, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Because tips has always been a question that's popped up the last like 6 years for us, 5-6 years. It's one that is great, and the guides, because none of it is compulsory. They're more like culturally expected, is what we kind of label it as, because especially in Nepal and Tanzania, even the same with Morocco, that it's culturally expected to get tips, even though in the UK we're not used to doing it, are we? On like general day-to-day life.
Yeah.
But in Nepal, even like the drivers and people that carry the bags, they're always that's again just on their culture.
Yeah.
But it's it is always going back to that initial thought of remembering what they do for you, remembering they've almost enhanced your experience. They've, again, we go back to what we were talking at the beginning about, like why we use local guides, and these guys make the difference between having a good trip and having a great trip, and between not reaching base camp or not getting the summit Achille and doing so. That's a good question to finish on, I think, Dave. That's a really, Dave, you got any final thoughts about today? It's been a nice subject to talk about, isn't it?
No, pretty good. Do you know what? I should prepare a final thought. I should start thinking about it. Actually, do you know what? A minute ago, my mind, a thought popped in, and this is totally random and irrelevant, but I might share it anyway. When I was in Morocco, do you remember when I went into that shop and bought some water, and then when I left, the guy was chasing me down the street from the shop, and there was a couple of people in the street like calling me, and I thought, oh God, like I haven't paid him enough. He thinks I've stolen from him.
Yeah.
And there was about 3 or 4 people like guiding me back to the shop. So I walked back into the shop, and the guy handed me money.
He had change for you, exactly. Yeah,
I got
bad,
change,
right?
I got change for you.
Honestly,
and I was like,
that was.
And I walked out, and I was like, oh God, I thought I'd just stolen some water accidentally, and I was going to get a telling off. And then when I got there was some to and fro. So I grabbed a guy from the street, and I said, can you ask him how much I owe him? it got really confusing between the three of us. We were having like this conversation, and then eventually the guy, I think he got a bit annoyed, and he just like handed me some money and went, "That's yours, go." And I was like, "Oh."
Amazing.
Yeah,
Love it.
that's
I
my
love those
final thought.
conversations. All part of traveling, isn't it? But great
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Lovely, Dave. All right. Well, look. Yeah. Thanks. Great to be back this week. Yeah. Great to catch up with you all. Anything you need, do reach out. I know I saw someone asking about booking in calls and things. I know some of the team are picking those up. I think people have got some calls booked in this afternoon, which is great. Always great to talk about your adventures. Yeah. And anything you need, guys. Any suggestions as well? I know we've got a lot in store over the next couple of months. But if there's anything that you think, okay, guys, I'd love you guys to chat about this, just ping us a message, or maybe put in the High Altitude Ever Trackers, maybe start a conversation around it, and and we can talk about that and hopefully do a Tuesday tune in on it. But yeah, thanks, Dave. Great to be back, mate, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I've just been said it's like Jerry Springer's final thought, so I'll leave it with, okay, guys, and take care of yourselves and each other.
Is that what you used to say?
That's what I used to say, yeah.
Wow. Jerry Springer. Good job there's no fights and arguments in the background. That's hilarious. Great stuff. All right, we'll see you next week, guys.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.